Yo, yo, yo. What up, Kwanza Global family? This is episode 19. Episode 19. It's another Friday. Back again with another episode. Today, this episode is called This is Wealth. So we're going to be talking about wealth in more ways than just financially. You can be wealthy and not necessarily in the financial aspect, but you can be wealthy in other ways that can even help you as you're on your journey to becoming wealthy, financially speaking. But there's other ways in life that you can be wealthy and should be wealthy, so that you can enjoy the wealth that you are attaining as you make, those smart business decisions in life, to help yourself, but also even after you're gone, your family and your family's family, generations after, and continue that legacy. There's things also you have to do now that help you enjoy that as well, as you're living life. And you can just start off with your health. You've heard that before. Health is wealth. And that is important, because if you're not healthy, if you're sick, if you're not taking care of your body, and you're always sick, you're always, catching that cold because, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not eating right, you're not exercising, whatever it is, you're not, taking the proper steps to take care of yourself and to make sure that, your body, your mental, and, all of that is okay. You can accumulate all the wealth you want, you're not even going to be able to enjoy it. You're not even going to be able to use it effectively, because, you're not even, able to do anything. You're just, trying to recover, the half of your life, you're just trying to get yourself out of bed. So health is wealth, as much as we hear it, is definitely important. It's definitely it's definitely a must. It's a priority. That is something you want to be wealthy in. And as far as having good health, mentally speaking, physically speaking, spiritually speaking, emotionally, and all, in all of those ways you want to be healthy, because that's what you can. If you're weak in any of those areas, if you're sick in any of those areas, if you're lacking, that will catch up to you. That will have an effect on you. You could have all the money you want, all this you want. If you're not able to do anything with it, what is the point? It's just there. You know what I mean? You can't do anything with that. If you're gone, if you're if you're not on this earth anymore, and that's it, because you couldn't take care of yourself, the proper way, and you're just wasting your life, just taking in nonsense, drinking too much, this, that, smoking too much, inhaling all these things you shouldn't be. All of this stuff, you're just hurting yourself. And, forget about building wealth financially. You're killing yourself. So health is a big thing we need to stack up on and focus on as far as being wealthy. Now, being wealthy and having good health, now right there, you're on the right track to being wealthy. Right there, you can say you're wealthy, just by having good health, by thanking God that, you're in good health, just being able to wake up and all of that, and then, and being able to walk on your 2 feet, all of that. And then also you putting in your work and eating the right things and drinking the right things consistently on a daily basis, exercising when you can, and doing those things to ensure that you're healthy and you're able to enjoy your wealth on the financial side of things. So other ways that wealth is, can be put into your life other than financially speaking, other than dollars. I mean, wisdom, receiving wisdom, giving out wisdom, wealth, that's wealth, wisdom is important, you know what I mean? And that's just, knowledge applied, the knowledge that you receive, the knowledge that you learn from reading, from watching certain things, hearing other people give their experiences, however you gain your knowledge, and we gain knowledge in various ways. Once we get that knowledge, just applying it, that's wealth too. That's wealth. That's a lot of wealth being acquired. Having wisdom, is just you applying the things that you've learned, so far throughout your life, and using it, at the proper time, using it at the appropriate time. And that's wisdom right there. That you're in good company if among those people that people would call wise, that you apply, things that you recall things that you've learned, and you apply it, when needed, when appropriate, when the time is right. That's just that's wisdom. And the more you have of that, you're able to help other people, help yourself. You can't be a fool and just be out making silly decisions, knowing right from wrong, knowing what you're supposed to do, having the knowledge, and then not applying it at all, is worse. I mean, at least if you don't know any better, that's one thing. You know what I mean? Can't really blame someone who doesn't know any better. Like, literally, like, they don't know. Um, they just don't know that they shouldn't be doing this or saying this, right? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But if you know better and you don't do better, there's no other, they call you, you'd be called a fool for that, because you know the right decision to make, the right thing to do, but instead you do the other thing. And then when the outcome doesn't work in your favor, who you can't blame anyone but yourself, right? So wisdom is very important in every, no matter what you're doing in life, wisdom is important. And that is another way you can enjoy actual financial wealth, by having wisdom, making smart business decisions. You fail, you don't succeed, you get back up, but you don't repeat the same thing that didn't work again and again, knowing it's not going to work. You find another way around it. You find another way to do it. You learn from those mistakes. You think things through. You maneuver. You attack and game plan in a different way, or you attack it, in a you try to go at it in a unique way. Whatever it is, but you're not making silly decisions, because you know better. Because you know better, you're not gonna make a decision that, is lacking, uh, is lacking wisdom. When you already have the knowledge for it, you're not gonna make a silly decision. So that applies to every facet of life, whether it's relationship, whether it's business. So wisdom is important, and that will obviously help towards financial wealth, with wisdom, because it's needed. It's needed. So you're not out here just, you know, walking without, as if you're walking with your head cut off, essentially. So wisdom is another important part of wealth. Absolutely, absolutely. Another thing we can say is another part of of having wealth. Another important, thing that you can say, if you have this in your life, um, um, a part of your life is love. You know what I mean? If you have a love, you know what I mean? Showing love to others, and the people around you that love you, of course. You know what I mean? That is part of wealth. You know what I mean? You can't go through this life alone. You can't go through this. You don't want to go through this life alone or lonely. You know what I mean? There's a difference in both of them, but in both of those, words, alone and lonely. You, but even though there's differences, both of them you don't want to do. You don't want to go through this life alone. By yourself, kind of just solo, kind of just, never really interacting with anyone. Doesn't necessarily mean you're lonely per se. Doesn't mean that, but you also don't want to, go through this life alone. You know what I mean? You want to have people, around you, who love you, and you also love, and you can hang out with, you can share experiences with, that you can learn from, that you can encourage, and they can encourage you. You got, you want to have relationships, period, where the love is strong. And that is a very wealthy life, and you also don't want to go around life lonely. You know what I mean? You could be around a lot of people, and you could also not be around a lot. You could be around a lot of people, or you could also not be around a lot of people and still be, lonely. Either way, you could still be lonely, because that could just be, it could be, things going on, behind the scenes, things that you're holding on to, and you just feel lonely. You know what I mean? Whether it's a room of 300 people or it's just you. And I mean, it's not the amount of people you're around. You could just be lonely. You don't want to have that. And a remedy for that is, having people around you who you trust, who love you and who you love, and you can, share things with, be, that you can consider family, that you consider, your people, a community, that kind of thing. And so love is very important in having what one would call a wealthy life. A life full of love. Wisdom. Those are those are very important. Especially if you're, as you continue to go through life and are trying to build wealth financially, you need those things. How many times have you heard people who are wealthy, who have lots of money, and all of a sudden you hear, something tragic happens, and you're like, how could that have happened? With everything going on for them. You know what I mean? And you find out, the things going on behind the scenes. That's why you have to really, health is important, wisdom is important, love is important. All these things are important, in their own ways, but they're all equally as important. You know what I mean? Health, that includes physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of those things important. You need that. It's not just about building financial wealth. You know what I mean? You want to do that too, but all building financial wealth, it really is, it becomes useless if you're not taking care of yourself at the end of the day. So that includes your health, and acting a fool, not being wise, about your life, about the decisions you're making, can affect you building up any financial wealth at all. You know what I mean? If you're not allowed to even see whatever work you're putting in, and the fruits of that labor, you're neglecting your health, then what's the point? You know what I mean? That's why health and wisdom are so important right there. You don't have people around you, who, you don't have love, that love around you. You don't even love yourself. You know what I mean? Love is so important. If you don't have that love, how can you sustain any type of financial wealth at all? You know what I mean? You're lonely. You're not, there's no relationships. You're not connecting with people. You're basically dead. You're just, what's the point? What's the purpose of it all? How can you build financial wealth that way, sustain it, or get through those tough times if you don't have love in your life? You know what I mean? If you don't have love. So that's another important thing. These are very, how I'm explaining it, how I'm going about it. It's very straightforward. It's very simple, but people, you have to, these are things you have to realize, you have to understand for yourself. You know what I mean? You can't, people on the outside looking in, who may not necessarily be in your circle, or you don't allow them to be, may not know that you don't have, there's things that you have to take care of. You have to take care of your own health. No one can do that for you. No one can actually do that for you. And people can tell you to do those things, advise you to, but you have to take initiative. You have to take action and take care of your health. No one can be wise for you. No one can, love you for you and tell you or make you show love. You know what I mean? That's contradictory. You can't. Love should be a willing, unforced action. So love definitely cannot be something that someone should make you do. It's just something you do. So would we say health, wisdom, and love? So those things are very, very important when it comes to building financial wealth. So this episode today, we're going outside of the scope of just wealth as far as financially speaking, because that's the first thing, I would think most people think of, or at least that's what I think most people think of when it comes to wealth. You know what I mean? Or at least as when we're young, when you hear wealth, it's like, or wealthy people, you think of money, and not just money as far as like, oh, just that person is wealthy. No, their their kids and their whole family, their wife, their kids, and their kids like have money. They're wealthy, like they're good, like they have houses, they have cars, they have plenty of food, they have all the basic needs and some, that type of wealthy. Not just it stops with that person. So it's not that's why they say the difference between rich and wealthy. Where rich, that individual, they have money, but that money most likely is not gonna last, beyond, after their kids have their own kids, kind of things. Once their kids have their own kids, kind of that money has already dwindled down. Like, no, we're talking wealth that stretches long, long, long after. So that type of wealth, is important. It's something that goes on for generations. But why, for you to build such a long, sustained, foundation where you can take care of, generations to come, you have to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? If you cut your life short because you're not taking care of yourself and doing the proper things, and living life, wisely, you're going to you're gonna forfeit, all the work you're trying to put into achieving that, and being wealthy financially, which is why money isn't just everything, because you still have to put in, you still have to be, you still have to do, the proper things so that money can work for you, and last for you. So we already talked about health. We already talked about having wisdom. So health and wisdom, and we talked about love. You need that love. So all of those things are very important. And within that love, we already talked about, having relationships, having people, around you, period. We're not meant to be just by ourselves 24/7 or most of the time, so we need people around us. So that's where, all of these things are important, towards building financial wealth. All these things are priorities, towards building financial wealth, and continuing it on, I would say, um, um, another thing as far as, being wealthy outside of just financially, but adding on to how you can continue, how it can allow you to build financial wealth, and keep, and not get cut short from doing so. Um, you can say that, just never not you should never stop dreaming. You know what I mean? Not looking at yourself as, all right, this is it. I've made it. You know what I mean? Like you're still you're still always, there's always more. Not limiting yourself to wherever you're at. All right, you're building a business, you're building a company. You're in the midst of that, you're always, that's always, you're gonna be your thing. All right, you have a gift, you have a calling also in another area of life that you're capable of doing effectively, and stewarding well, right? So you already, have been a faithful steward towards this business that you've grown, and you've had God has given you the vision for. All right, now you've been called to do also this as well, and there's a vision towards there. Don't settle and limit yourself, and just start focusing here, because that's where you become comfortable with. And it's something we talked about in past episodes. Don't start becoming too comfortable where now you begin to kind of play it safe. You begin to stop moving. You start being stagnant. You're so comfortable you don't want to move. You're cool on that couch right here on this big couch, so you're not trying to get up and do something else. You're not trying to go and reach out, or you start saying it's too risky. You start doubting, or you start, just staying away from that because you're comfortable. Whatever the reason is, let's not do that. All right. So, build part of also building financial wealth is not just staying. All right, just being a one trick pony, one can say, in a sense, kind of just, all right, I'm just staying here because this is what I'm good at. It's like, oh no, like this is what you've done very well at. There's also something you can do very well, but you're just comfortable where you're at since you've already done so well. So don't get caught up in that cycle where you just think, all right, this is where you're at, this is where you're gonna stay because you've done so well with it so far. You don't want to mess anything up, right? Don't do that, right? You want to move, you know what I mean? You want to, be diverse. You want to be more, than just that. You don't want to be just, just one-sided or very limited to your to the things that you can do. You don't want to be limited and this particular something a particular word I want to use that's slipping me, but you don't want to be one or short-sighted. You want to look at things just one way, one particular way, or one and just very short-sighted in a sense. You don't want to put yourself in a box, right? So with that, you know what I mean, you want to move around, you want to put your take that risk, you know what I mean? You're good at you're good at sports just as much as you're good at acting. All right, fine. So do it. Just because, all right, you're a great basketball player, so all of a sudden now it's like, all right, you can't be a good actor too, actress. You can't be a good actor or actress, right? You can't because you're a great athlete. What does being good at one have to do with the other? Don't stop dreaming because other people aren't doing it. Because other people don't think you can do it. Other people would think it's weird. Other people are limited in their own mind. Other people haven't achieved their dreams or done anything or are gonna do anything of such big caliber. So now if you do something that doesn't necessarily fit who they think you are, so people already have their image of who they think you are. So they think if you move and do something else, it's, you know what I mean? There's so many things that excuses and outside external things that make us kind of, think certain things or influence our decisions sometimes. But man, do not do that. If we're talking about building financial wealth, if you stop dreaming, well, then there goes, then that's exactly, you can just put a marker right there is where that money is gonna stop, because you just, I mean, you know what I mean, right there, that's your limit. You can only go as far as this business is gonna grow. Not saying your business can't keep growing and growing, but I mean, generally speaking, there's just at a certain point, you know what I mean? This is where it's gonna stay at. You know what I mean? It's not like you're not in a good place, but if you can do more, with the gifts that you have, with the abilities with the success that you've already built, why stay there? What is your reason? I mean, you have to also ask yourself these questions. Why am I just? Is it really that much of a risk for you to go and use what God has blessed you with, other things that God has blessed you with over here, and instead of why? Is it because you're too comfortable? Are you sure? Would you say no? Okay, it's not because you're too comfortable. So then why? Why not use your other gift? So, you know what I mean? But also take the money aspect out of it. It's not about me. I'm not saying this just to say like, so why not? I'm not saying this in the sense of, all right, continue to make more money then. But it's not just about the money, because like it is money. Money is really just a it's a piece of paper. I mean, there's value to it, of course, because we give it value. There's value to it and the things that we can get for it. But it's just a piece of paper, right? So it's not about just you getting. It's what you can do with it. Is what what I mean. The value, because it has value, and what we can do with it because of the fact that it has value. We're able to do things with it. So it's like, why stop? Here and limit yourself. It's like if there's a certain cap or limit to how far maybe just this area that you've been stewarding so far can go or may go, right? Not necessarily that it won't continue to grow, it can grow, but is that all right? You know what I mean? Is it just that you're too comfortable, or is it just that you're fine here and you're good here? Or is it just that, or what I mean, is it too risky for you, right? For you to go to also do something else. It's not like you're abandoning at all. It's not about abandoning what you've been growing or what you're doing with your gifts right now and leaving it to do something else. It's like, no, you're still doing what you're doing, but you're also going here as well. You know what I mean? Like, you're also doing other things. You know what I mean? Diversifying your portfolio. You know what I mean? With your gifts, though, it's like you're not just staying put in just this area because you succeeded here. Are you afraid to go over there and also succeed? Why not? You know what I mean? You can also impact, and provide for not. Of course, you don't want to do things just for yourself, but you can also, provide for yourself, make an impact for the people around you. And that's the important thing. That's the most important thing, right? And to be successful there and continue to, now you can continue to build it because it's not just here. It's like, all right, maybe, you know what I mean? Business speaking, things are, yeah, you lose some money over in this month or these couple months. Big deal. It's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? Of course, you're gonna wait for things to kick back up, but again, it's not the end of the world because you also put in some work and put in some pain over here, and you're successful in this area that you've also started to steward and be great at. So your money's still growing there, even though maybe some money fell off here, during the stock. The stock dropped a little low over here. The business dropped some, lost some money a little bit. Nothing, to be, up in arms about as far as, you're losing everything. You know what I mean? Of course, you're still doing very well for yourself, but you losing money here doesn't affect that your money's still growing longer over there, right? So you're still doing well over there. Because you haven't stopped dreaming. You haven't stopped realizing that you still have a lot of gifts. You still have gifts and abilities that God has given you. And even with the same gift that maybe you used to grow your business, you could use it to do something else over there. And start another type of business. You know what I mean? There's so many ways you can do it. But if you stop dreaming, you know what I mean? You kind of just stuck right here. It's like, this was my dream and that's it. This is where it stops and where it ends, just with that one dream. You know what I mean? I think people also get caught up in like, all right, having this one big dream. You can only be in a, like an unwritten rule that you can only have one big dream. And after you got in there, I mean, what else is there for you to do? Like, you can't have another dream and another dream or another vision of how you can pursue that other big dream, or even expand the dream that you already had in another way, and then from there even dream again and again and again in a new way, and just have new ideas, as time goes on, So these are all ways one can impact one's wealth financially. Is never stop dreaming. Once you stop dreaming, well, I mean, you stopped yourself. You're limiting yourself. I mean, you're just seeing things, I guess, from the same lens, from the same point of view, from the same perspective over and over. You're never really thinking of anything new. You're just, what I mean? It's kind of like you sat there and you think to yourself, you kind of done it all. You know what I mean? In a sense, You know what I mean? Just in conversations and just giving out ideas and just, you can always dream big and dream more and kind of do more. And, all of these things that we're talking about just work together. Um, Having people around you, people that love you, that's why it's important to have love. Remember, y'all, you know, um, and with that inherently there's you're gonna have relationships, you're gonna have people around you that will help you to that should, what I mean, you have the right people in your life that will nurture your dreams, that will support your dreams, that will congratulate and encourage your dreams, that will help you and also have dreams of their own as well, and you can help them with their dreams as they help you, and encourage them with their dreams as they encourage you, and all of that. So that's why all of these are connected, and you guys can all kind of connect with each other, feed off each other, uplift each other, and make sure each other are doing the right thing by themselves. Making sure y'all all eating healthy in your circle. You know what I mean? So none of y'all gonna die because of lack of concern for themselves. You know what I mean? You making sure y'all eating right, and doing what y'all supposed to be doing, being wise with your decisions. All of these things are connected. You know what I mean? All of these things are connected and important and needed. You know what I mean? All these things, one can make an argument. It's like, do you have to have these things to increase financial wealth or sustain financial wealth? I mean, you could have people who might make the argument for it, but you know what I mean? I'm making the argument, and I'm stating that, if you have love in your life, you know what I mean? You love yourself. You're loving your neighbors. You love yourself. You have relationships around you, people that love you, right? If you have wisdom, if you have good health, and what we just talked about, if you're constantly dreaming, continuing to dream and take action towards those dreams, and continue to build them out on those dreams and make them become reality, how does that not increase financial wealth? How would that not, right? Now, if you don't have those things, how much harder would you don't? I mean, think about it. How much harder would it be? It's not saying you cannot, but don't you think it'd be much harder to build wealth without those things that I mentioned? Without those four things I mentioned: what health, wisdom, love, and dream big. Those four things. Okay, without any of those, you could take out even just one, but out of any of those, right? Wouldn't it be much harder to build wealth? And then once if you can build wealth without any of those four things that we've talked about so far, right? Without any of those, so you build it, how you sustaining it being sustained, without those four elements, without those four things, without you sustaining it and it growing, without you even teaching those four things. Because if you're not doing it yourself, how are you even able to teach it, right? So you don't have any of those four things, and you don't pass that along, right? Because that's not even something you even lived out, right? Any of those four things. How would it really, is it even really wealth at that point, right? Because wealth, I'm talking about generations. This doesn't just stop after, your kids have kids. You know what I mean? After your kids have your kids, if your kids can't even live off the money you made, you know what I mean? If your grandkids can't even live off the money you made, and they would be living off the money you made because your kids are living off the money you made, and they're also, and it gives them also a jump start to do their own thing, as well, if they so choose, as far as kind of branching off and just building their own wealth. You know what I mean? Building their own, doing their own business. Maybe separate from the family business or what you built. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a separate entity, but you know what I mean. They still have the backing of the financial of the finances, of the financial freedom to do whatever it is they want to do. And because of that, then their kids do, which are your grandkids, and then your great grandkids and grands, even after you're gone, where you don't even have a hand in it. There's nothing for you to touch in it physically, or for you to oversee physically, but your hand is there because of the work you put in. So how are you able to do that if you don't even pass that along? You know what I mean? All those elements, right? So all those elements are out. I would think it's harder. I mean, you could argue with it about it, I guess, but I think it would be harder to build wealth without those four things. And once or be harder to build money, right? Or about it to become, very rich. Or no, yeah, wealthy, period. Let's just say that. Wealthy. To become, or no. Because you could build up so much money, but at some point it's kind of like, once you still have to wait for it to reach a certain generation. So that money that your grandkids, at least your great grandkids, are touching, then all right, it's wealth, period. Because for it to go to that extent, and your grandkids have the effect of it, as far as their livelihood, that's wealth, period, right? So I'm saying, so yeah. So once it gets to that point, so one would have to obviously wait and see, you know what I mean? But because money comes and goes if you're not taking care of it, right? And you're not doing the proper things. So still, I would say that without those four things, you could become very, rich, right? Very rich, and build up that money. But if you don't pass those things along, you know what I mean, it'd be hard for you to get up to that point, I would think, without those four things that we mentioned. Again, health, wisdom, love, and dreaming big. If you don't pass those four things along, you know what I mean, build up a lot of money, be very, 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 very rich, but you know what I mean, will you be wealthy? Would that even be passed along to the point where it gets to your great grandkids? You know what I mean? If you don't instill that in the next generation, keep that going, kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's just how I see it. You know what I mean? I feel like those are very crucial elements. Very crucial elements. Just I think they're very basic. I think they're very practical too. Very practical. And what else could I add to that? I mean, as far as being wealthy, being, as far as, adding to the wealth of life, right? I mean, as far as, being, one could say you're, besides the financial aspect of it, I think one could say you're very, you're living a wealthy life. Those four things, I think you're pretty solid. Again, health, you taking care of yourself. You have to, you know what I mean? If you're dead, what's the, you don't, there's nothing you can do at that point. Health. When I say wisdom, you gotta be wise out here. You gotta be wise with what you're doing. You gotta be wise. So we already, what do we do? Health, wisdom. And we explained those already. The love is needed. Oh, you don't think you need it now, right? Oh, you just, you're doing it all by yourself. All right. That's how you thinking. And then later on, when you have no one to share it with, when you thought it's only you, it's me, me, myself, and I, right? All right. And then when times get tough and you inside of your own head and you going crazy, so you being inside your own head is the last place you want to be. You need love. You need people around you. You need relationships, genuine relationships. You know what I mean? Real friends. And then, dreaming big, put yourself in a box. It's like, I don't get to that point where quotations around, you've made it, you know what I mean? Or quotations around I've made it, air quotes around I've made it, right? So why get to that point in your life where it's like, all right, this is it? Because then it's equivalent to essentially saying I've achieved life purpose. There's nothing less for me to do. Like I'm just here, like there's no more purpose left for me. You can never say that until you taking your last breath, and once you've taken your last breath, then there's no need for you to say, you know what I mean? Then it's evident you've done what you finished, what you needed to finish at that point, you know. But until then, so you're taking your last breath, for you to kind of just stop dreaming, stop thinking imaginatively, and stop creating, and stop just, you know, basically stop living life. You kind of just stop, you know, any type of passion for life. Stop, you know, doing what you're doing, you know, doing the things that even got to, you know, all those things, you know, how you were moving before you've, air quotes around, you've made it, you know, which is subjective, and you know what I mean? There's no you've made it, you know what I mean? As long as you're alive, you got a reason for it, so keep doing what you should be doing on earth, and don't, you know, don't quit. Don't just, you know, kind of like, don't be that person who's like, you know, you know, when you're at the you know, when people in a race, and the banner, you know, they got the banner, the, you know, yeah, the banner across the, right over the line that you can run through. You know, when you run in track or whatever, you know, those races. And when you're neck and neck with somebody or whatever it is, even if you're by yourself and the coming in through the coming in behind the pack or in front, wherever you are, you kind of, you know what I mean? You stretch as hard as you can to you know, to push through. You know, to push through it and knock over the ribbon thing. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, where it's like, you don't slow down. You know what I mean? You usually don't slow down. You try to push through. You try to get there. You know, and you really wanna, you know, every last drop of sweat, you wanna push through. You know what I mean? Blood, sweat, and tears with it. You know what I mean? You don't want to just quit. You know what I mean? You don't want to do what's that saying? Quit while you're ahead. You know what I mean? They say that when you just, like, you winning. It's kind of like you on that win streak on 2K. And it's like, yo, let's get off this spot so we get kicked off. Let's go off on a win. Nice note. Like, nah, bruh. Don't be that person to get off. Keep running it up until nobody trying to play no more. Until nobody trying to, you know what I mean? Or unless, you know what I mean? Until you got to go to work the next morning or something. I don't, you know what I mean? But, like, you don't just quit just because it's like, all right, this is it. I've gotten to this point. Like, all right, I'm done. Like, don't have that mentality. You know what I mean? Don't have that mentality where it's like, all right, you basically cap yourself. Put a limit on your achievements, or how far you want to go. Why do that? It just doesn't. It's not it's not a winner's mentality to do that. You know what I mean? Who are you to stop, you know, yourself from doing more, you know, for yourself, for the people around you, for your family, for your community, for your love, for why? Just stop for what? Just shut off. Why? What is the purpose? What is all of a sudden? Because, I mean, you've done enough. Why? What? You know what I mean? I think you just have to ask yourself those questions. What are these things that we like? Why? It's like, why do you decide to just kick my feet up and kind of just do nothing? You know what I mean? To get, like, why should one get to that point mentally, that space where it's like, all right, I don't need to do anything for anybody. I don't have to care about anything, kind of thing. So I think those are four important things that contribute to wealth, true wealth. You know, health, wisdom, love, and dreaming big, and making sure and putting into action that those dreams become a reality, with God's by the grace of God, and by the strength of God, in you, helping you along the way. Um, Most importantly, So that's really, yeah. I mean, those are like four solid things, man. Um, yeah. I'm trying to, yeah, man. Like you can't go wrong with those four right there off the bat. That's wealth right there. That's a wealthy life. Um, you know what I mean? With those four things, put in the work towards getting, financial wealth. Um, as you put in the work to build financial wealth, having those four things, man, you cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong. Um, and yeah, you cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong with those. You cannot go wrong with those. Um, you know what I mean? You cannot go wrong with those. You cannot. You just can't. You gotta have God behind the wheel. You know what I mean? He guiding you. He directs the steps. You know what I mean? He directs the head. Jesus, Jesus is directing the steps for me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That, having that is a given. I'm telling you. Just don't think too deep about it. Give it to God. You know what I mean? Let him lead. And then, I mean, all those elements, you know what I mean? These are practical things, though. But I'm just telling you, don't, you know what I mean? It's a given, man. Trust God. Don't let it be too late to remember that he is on your side, whether you want to try to ignore it or not, or you get a little big headed. God is right there with you. But these are practical things, God leading the way, directing your steps, right there along the way. Put your trust in Him, and you should not be shaken. Right? I want to make that clear as well. And then these practical things, man. Take care of yourself, health. And again, I'm going to say it again, wisdom, which comes with the fear of the Lord. Shout out to the men's retreat. We talked about that. Went on a men's retreat recently. We talked about that. The beginning of wisdom, is having, is the fear of the Lord. You know what I mean? And not fear as in scared or none of that. You know what I mean? Just, to be clear, not fear as in being scared or being, on your toes and being shook and frightened. No, like acknowledging, like respect, like understanding that God, you are in control. You are the reason I'm here. You are my Father. You are the reason I'm here. I know you love me, and I know your plans are for me to succeed and prosper, not for destruction and failure. So whatever I put my mind to, whatever I put my hands on, will succeed because I am your child, and you have the best plans for me, plans to prosper, not plans to harm me, but plans to prosper. You give me gifts and abilities and talents and all these, you've given me all of this. You've blessed me for a reason, not just for myself, but for the people around me, for my family, and all these people that I have yet to meet and may not even meet face to face, but will be impacted by me blessing them through the blessings that you've given me. That kind of, that fear of the Lord, understanding that, being wise and understanding that there is a God, and that God is on your side, and that God loves you, that God is your creator, that God is your Father, and you are His child, and He wants the best for you. He wants you to succeed. That is the fear of the Lord. You know what I mean? That is that respect. That is that acknowledging. That is that sense of understanding. That sense of, acknowledging that, there's a God and He's on your side, and He's leading you. He's guiding you. He's directing your steps. Right, in everything, in every facet of life, right? So that's the fear of the Lord. That's the beginning of wisdom, which is why it's so important to have that. So health, you got to be healthy. You got to be taking care of yourself. You got to be alive to do what God has, blessed you to be able to do, and to give glory to His name. You got to be healthy. You got to be, in good health, and take care of yourself. Good health. So healthy, wisdom, love, the love of God, and through his love that he shows us each and every day, waking us up each and every day. God waking us up each and every day. God, he's like, I thank you, Jesus, for waking me up today, for showing me love, even when I don't deserve it. That type of love, unconditional love. That type of love where you understand that God loves you no matter what. And God loves you. You wake up, remember, love yourself, and even with all your insecurities and all the things all your fears and everything that weighs you down, give it to him, give it to God. Yeah, Jesus, take it away from me. Because that's why, you know what I mean? He took it away already for you. You know what I mean? He took the pain away. He took it all away for you. You know what I mean? That's why he came, to take all that away. So don't hold it on. Give it to him. He loves you that much. So love yourself. Understanding that God loves you now. Love yourself. Love yourself. Better love yourself. Just as much. God loves you. Love yourself, right? Love yourself as well. And show that same exact love to others. And with that, you're going to build relationships, of course, the relationship that you have with your family, your friends, whoever, build that community, show love to others, have that community, have that family, have those people you trust. And then again, keep dreaming big. God's going to keep giving you those visions, those dreams, and more and more and more, because as long as you're alive, there's a purpose for you to fulfill. So there's always something for you to do, so there's no quitter's mindset. There's no giving up. There's no giving up. So again, we're going to go through the 4 again, man. Health, wisdom, love, and dreaming big, all with God's help, So, yeah, man. That's episode 19 for you on this beautiful Friday. Thank God for this Friday. Yeah, man. It's your boy Mayokun, with this week's episode 19. We love y'all, man. Love y'all, man. I'm glad for every single one of y'all tuning in from wherever you are in the U.S., outside of the U.S. I'll be checking. There's a couple of y'all from outside the U.S. Much love to y'all. Wherever y'all at, whatever y'all doing, much love to y'all for taking the time out to listen to us, hear us, and just and showing love. So much love to y'all. Keep showing love, keep listening, keeping up with us, man. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Keep up with us on our socials. It's Kwanza Global on our socials, same way as it's spelled on here on the podcast, KWANZA GLOBAL. Once again, KWANZA GLOBAL, Kwanza Global on all social platforms. And man, we're gonna catch y'all again next week, of course. Next Friday, another drop. And again, much love to y'all. Appreciate y'all. This is for y'all as much as it is, for us. It's for y'all, man. Much love. Hope y'all enjoy this episode. And till next week, the next episode 20. Gonna holla at y'all, man. Much love again. Hey, it's Kwanza Global, man. Kwanza Global family. We out. Peace. Yes, sir. All right.